Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday vlog where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel, headlines that are in the news, technology, social media, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. It is a bit of a departure from what is typically here on the channel, but nonetheless, if this is your first time here, I'd like to welcome you and encourage you guys to click on that watermark down there in the bottom right hand corner to subscribe. That way you guys will know when we have future Friday vlogs as well as additional content that's here on the channel. On Friday, January the 18th, BuzzFeed came out with an article that stated that Donald Trump had instructed Michael Cohen to lie about a building project, a Trump Tower in Russia. Now, this is the typical carrot on the stick that for the last 2 years we have been hearing from the Trump detractors and the mainstream media that at any moment, any day, any week, any month, Trump is going down. However, we heard from Mueller's office who refuted the story outright. As a matter of fact, if this had even been remotely a possibility, it would have came out during the investigation, and it most certainly would have come out during the sentencing. So, as of this recording, January the 16th, on Wednesday, BuzzFeed has refused to retract the story or make any additional edits. As a matter of fact, they're trying to find additional information out there that could corroborate this information, but they stick to their sources that said that this actually happened. Now, yes, their sources did say that it happened, but that doesn't mean that their sources are correct or that the information is correct, because the Mueller office themselves addressed this specifically to BuzzFeed that it was inaccurate. And that's going to lead us into our next segment. Also on Friday, January the 18th, there was the March for Life rally in Washington, D.C. It is an annual event, and this year Mike Pence was one of the speakers and also in attendance, and apparently they've been going now for the last several years, was the Covington High School private Catholic school from Kentucky, and specifically Nick Sandmann and an individual, a Native American by the name of Nathan Phillips. Now, when this first broke, I saw the typical progressives and the left and others on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and even YouTube kind of jumping on this event. Now, what kicked it off was an image of Nick Sandmann kind of looking at this Native American Nathan Phillips, who was playing his prayer drum. And the caption from the now removed and deleted Twitter was, here's a MAGA hat wearing white kid staring down, mocking, intimidating, and creating issues with this Native American and other individuals in the area. Or I should say more specifically, a group of Covington High School students who were wearing Make America Great Again hats. Now, I kind of looked at this and said, wow, what a combination of the typical identitarian culture war formula ingredients that individuals who are Trump detractors could use as a form of or an example to continue to promote their cause. And so I didn't really look into it as much, but this thing started exploding, going into mainstream media and across the complete social media circuit. So it wasn't until later in the week, on Monday, when I actually started looking into the incident. Now, if you want the full context of everything that transpired, I'm going to leave links to you down in the published section below. But I want to express here how, like in our first segment, we were talking about BuzzFeed and how they were trying to use that methodology of undermining the president and promoting their particular agenda of Trump hate. And then in this particular situation, it was another opportunity for a group of Trump detractors to use a situation and an incident to then promote a narrative. So basically here is what actually happened. And I'm just going to break it down for you very directly. The children were on the Lincoln Memorial steps at 5:30 waiting for buses to pick them up. Their chaperones had coordinated this time, 5:30 p.m., and this is where the kids were going to meet. This is where they were. They were in a static location, all right? And in this area, you had the Black Israelites along with the Native American group. Now, they weren't together, they were in kind of separate little areas. So essentially what happened was the black Israelites, incidentally, they are considered a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC. They were, of course, just espousing their normal rhetoric and using homophobic slurs and things like that to kind of express and their narratives and their philosophies and ideologies. And over a period of time, these particular individuals saw the young kids kind of off, I guess, at a distance with their MAGA hats on, and of course this set them off, and then they started moving their way towards the kids and shouting racial slurs towards them, a lot of really offensive and just vulgar things towards the kids in general. And as this was kind of transpiring, the Native Americans saw this happening. So Nathan Phillips and his little party started moving towards the kids. So again, here we go. The kids were in a static location. They were not pursuing Nathan Phillips. They were not pursuing the individuals from pursuing the black Israelites. Both of these individuals, the black Israelites and Nathan Phillips, approached the kids. So what happened was Nathan Phillips got in there, and his premise, or his reasoning for being there in front of the kids, was he wanted to defuse, calm down, settle the tension that was going on there between the black Israelites and perhaps with the children, to make sure that, there's no particular confrontations. So here's Nathan Phillips with his prayer drum, and he's, playing it in front of some of the kids, and you can see him kind of walking through them. And then he stops on Nick Sandmann, who, as he describes later, very articulately, as well as very articulate statements from all the kids, he wasn't sure what was going on, and the kids weren't sure what was going on. As a matter of fact, in the video, you can hear the kids say, what's going on? I don't understand what this is all about. And the children weren't mocking Nathan Phillips at all. As a matter of fact, they weren't even sure what was going on. They heard a drum beat, they got into it, and it was mentioned that the kids, when they, were just waiting there and to pass the time, they chant their school slogans or their school chants and their, just their, kind of their pep rally type things, to kind of pass the time. And that's basically kind of what they were doing at the time that Nathan Phillips was playing his drum. And so the students weren't necessarily intentionally or willfully trying to mock him. They probably didn't even know what was going on. They didn't realize that this, what this individual was doing there. They just know that they were sitting there waiting for their chaperones, waiting for the buses to show up so that they could leave the event. Now, of course, this exploded all over the internet under the wrong pretense and completely described inaccurately to make, I suppose, the children, the school, anyone who supports Trump, MAGA hat wearers, anything they could possibly do to make this situation look terrible for anyone who may support the president in any way, shape, or form. And that has turned into a debacle. It's what? It's turned into a complete debacle. News medias have had to retract their stories. Vloggers have had to retract their stories. Bloggers, writers, pundits, journalists, all these people have had to retract their stories. As of this recording on Wednesday, January the 23rd, there has been so many retractions, and there is an attorney working pro bono to defend these students. There is going to be some serious ownage going on here with this attorney and any of the attorneys that these kids may have, because you got to remember, this is a private school, so it may be fair to say that these families have at least some level of money, of course, to be able to send them to the school, and they could be attorneys themselves or have connections to attorneys. And so this is going to really be a great big debacle. Now, as of this recording, we know that Nick Sandmann is going to be speaking publicly. He's going to be interviewed, because a lot of these media people really stuck their foot in their mouths and just went with this uncorroborated story. They went off of this Twitter feed, this Twitter post that has now been removed. Now, there has been even more interesting developments in this, because Nathan Phillips was described as a Vietnam Marine veteran to kind of, again, tantalize the conversation here, and having all the particular combinations of things. He's a Native American, he's a former Marine, he served in Vietnam. That is also inaccurate. He was a Marine reservist who did not serve in Vietnam. And to make it even more interesting, the media pursued this original tweet or this original account tweet, and we've come to learn that this account was posting like 130 tweets a day. And it was discovered that whoever they were using for the image or for the account was not the same person that was actually doing the posting. So there's all this stuff going on in the background now. Was this some form of media interjection to undermine the president or to continue the undermining of the president and the administration? So what all was going on really has to be asked, because when we talk about what happened with BuzzFeed, right, we know that the deep state is involved in a lot of this activity that's going on, this underhanded activity towards the president. So we don't know if there are some background actors going on that were using this particular opportunity to create and foment this hysteria that was going on during the week. But nonetheless, guys, we have talked about this before. People that have tried to pursue the president with ill intentions, with animus, with hatred, have had all of this stuff backfire against them. I have seen the Hollywood crowd have to retract what they say. I've seen very famous bloggers, very famous vloggers, very famous writers and journalists and others who have had to backtrack what they said. Even Philip DeFranco, for example, had to go back and make some corrections to what he covered, because so many people were going off this original tweet. And the problem with that is when things go viral, they're not always checked, and the jury of public opinion isn't particularly interested. Now, to combine these two stories together, what I want to say is this. Journalists really don't have any form of accountability. There is no agency that they have to report to. There is no agency or authority that monitors what journalists do. So they're able to get away with this stuff. Journalists technically don't have to be honest about their reporting. They don't have to be. They could say, hey, we're editorializing. You know, we're just giving an opinion. We're just giving information that we heard out to the people and let the people decide. So there's all of this continued concern about fake news and all the things that are going on. But it is clear that there is some form of, in many different levels across the spectrum, a continued effort to undermine President Trump. Now, I'm not trying to detract or distract from Nick Sandmann in his situation or Nathan Phillips, because Nathan Phillips is having to answer for what he's doing now. He's got to answer for the fact that the way he was reported and the way he was portrayed. So there's a lot going on with this story. It will continue to unfold, and perhaps we will have a little bit more conclusion and information in next Friday's vlog. But I wanted to bring up these two particular topics to you guys this week. And that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. I want to thank all you guys for your continued support, your likes, shares, and comments. And if you haven't already, be sure you click on that channel icon appearing right there on the screen to subscribe, and then click that notification bell so you guys know when the next Friday vlog is available. And I will see you guys next Friday.